Hello and welcome to Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. Joe and Kim Palo. As you can see, Kim is back. She has returned.
I'm having a really bad hair day. Okay, so did you get a haircut? I said, no, I just have no product in it
Okay,
whatsoever.
because I was thinking you had
Did I
something
get a
done.
haircut? No, it's a bad hair day, Joe, but we'll get.
Well, we'll make up for your bad hair day with my good hair day.
Well, you always have a good hair day, Joe.
Lots of hairspray.
Lots of hairspray.
But Kim has returned
I have.
from Florida. Kim was down in Florida for a week. As we talked about, I told you last week, her mom had been taken to the hospital, but she's doing better now.
She is, but she's really, the problem was her diagnosis wasn't serious. It was that she got critical by waiting so long to call someone. And so now she's having a real hard time recovering. In fact, I talked to her today, and when she went into church, she turned around and walked right out of church Sunday. She doesn't do that because she just couldn't. She was getting all fainty. So anyway, thoughts and prayers with her. She's doing better, but
Right.
she's wanting to go.
So see, take heed, a lesson from that. If you start feeling ill or something like is wrong with you, go to the doctor. Don't wait,
Right,
because she waited, and then her demise could have been waiting so long if she'd have gone sooner.
Yeah, she was actually very critical at that point.
Right.
But then, her diagnosis was not bad. It was just that she had waited too long. So
Right. But she's doing better. So those
She
of you
is.
that know her, she's doing better.
she is.
And we're glad you're back.
I'm sure you are.
For numerous reasons.
I know.
I have shirts that need to be ironed. I have belly that needs to be full. Get some cooked meals, that kind of thing. You know.
And we know how domestic I am.
That's exactly right.
I mean, he was missing out.
And speaking of domestic, which has nothing to do with domestic, however, this past Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday. I have to talk about it because Alan did mention, alluded to it last week, or
Right.
should I say Monday, that we would talk about it today. So
The Dolphins went.
the Dolphins won. They go and win every year the Super Bowl.
And
That's
you had
what,
your
in my mind.
uniform on.
I did have my uniform on.
I mean, head to toe, Dolphin stuff.
And we were just at the
House
house. We were just at the house. We were watching it by our lonesome.
Although
Corey,
Danny, he's been a bad boy in 2005.
well,
Joe.
now but that was a long time ago, Kim. We don't, that's why things are left in the past.
I know, Mr. Old Dan Marino, All-American.
Things are left in the past. You just don't worry about certain things.
No.
You look at the positive side. There's just
I
another
know.
addition to his family.
I'm
That's
saying,
all.
that's right.
Just to look at the positive side. But yeah, so it was probably one of the most watched Super Bowl. Obviously, every year it seems like it is, but this year it was, of course, the Harbaugh brothers.
That's a hard last thing
It
to
is,
say.
as they coached against each other, Jim and John. But the Ravens won, so those AFC fans or Raven fans or whatever, that was exciting because the Ravens did win. Ray Lewis, who I know you got some issues with or whatever.
No, I love Ray Ray.
Ray. And
I must say he behaved much, although he wanted to take that mic, though, didn't he, when he was being interviewed? And the guy
Yes.
was like, no, you're not going to take
And well, what it is too is he's got that he wants to preach,
it.
and Dion even alluded to that
I know.
he
I
wants
think
to
that's
preach.
probably what he's going to do. That's going to be his second life.
Well, now I
Third life, actually, because
he'll
he had a
probably get
really
into
bad
it
life, and
being
now
an
he's had a
analyst.
good football life. And now
yeah,
he's
no, he'll
gonna
be an
do-
analyst and probably preach as well too, because he does do motivational things, and he does help all different athletes, not just within his team. But so it was good that they won.
He went out on a high note.
He
Very
did.
few people have. They were talking about that. John Elway did.
Right.
Danny didn't. What was that last game?
Well, it doesn't matter. The bus Jerome
I
Bettis
think it was
did.
64-0.
Jerome Bettis did for the Pittsburgh Steelers back when he, and so yeah, but a few have
Yes.
had the opportunity to
And
go
so
out
he
on a
did.
high note, and then, but the deal was now I think some credibility now gets to go with their quarterback Joe Flacco, who really had people really didn't find him very credible, didn't think he was an elite quarterback, but I think now he's kind of shown that.
Yeah, they said he's
He
going to
can-
be backing up the bus to the Brinks safe because he's going to get all the money. They're talking about a
yeah.
$20 million a year contract,
Right.
a year, not a
Yes,
4
at
year, but
least.
1 year, $20 million.
At least he did it the right way. He waited, didn't sign the contract, waited till after
Well,
to
he
see
just
what
did a
happened.
year, right? He just
Right.
did it for a year. He didn't do an extended.
And he wanted to
so,
wait and see. So here they go to the playoffs and they go to the Super Bowl. Now they win the Super Bowl. So yeah, he's backing it up and saying,
Yep, he's backing up and saying, you should have offered it when you could. You could have got me for 15 mil. Now you're going to have to pay 20.
See?
There you go.
what
We got a
happens.
good show today.
We have a wonderful show today. We have three very terrific guest. Well, we've got two terrific guests. Of course, we got Ron. No, Ron is a very he is a terrific guest.
And I missed him last week. See, I didn't get to learn anything from him last week.
And
so.
you would, and the week that you weren't here, Ron had so much time, we ran out of things to say.
No.
Yes.
You want Ron?
With Ron. Ron was, and so
Well,
it
Joe,
worked
you
out.
guys will even make it up. How is
That's
that
what I'm
possible?
saying. Well, we made up some stuff at the
Okay.
end. But what I'm saying, we had a lot of time with Ron. Where usually, he's right down to the wire.
Right.
But we expounded on some
You
things.
just talked
And
about
Michelle,
everything.
yeah, Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle was here. Thank you, Michelle,
Yes,
for
want to thank
filling in
Michelle
for me,
Baker.
because that was at the last minute, buddy. I was out of here. But we have the new pastor at United Christian Church
we do.
over on Peerless Road. Reverend Mike Shreve is here. He's got
Yes.
an interesting background. He's dabbled into a little bit of the Middle Eastern religions. He's written some books about
Yes, he has.
children and the way that they should go. And he's just got a lot of different ministries that they're opening up over at United Christian Ministries over there. And then we have Tracy Shellhouse, as we always do, on the first Monday or Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, right. You don't even know what day it is.
That's because I was flying, Joe. My arms are tired.
Exactly.
So-
And your brain, too.
My
apparently.
brain, yes, it is.
But yeah, so Tracy is on, and that's
Yes,
great.
she's
And then,
in.
of course, like we said, we've got Ron Moore. Ron Moore is here.
And Tracy's
each
with
and
New
every-
Hope Pregnancy. We just
she is.
figure everybody knows who Tracy is. But
Well, Tracy's
then they
been
do.
on, and that's like Ron.
Right.
We just say Ron, we say Tracy, everybody knows what we're talking about. But yeah, so and then Ron will be here to talk about some history. We don't know yet what our topic will be
He
today.
surprises us.
He does, and I'm sure it'll be very interesting, as it always is. So what we're going to do, guess what we're going to do?
Are we going to go to a commercial break?
We're going to go to a commercial break, Kim. We're going to do a commercial
You're
break.
just a wild and crazy
Ah,
guy.
I live right on the edge.
Death wish.
But we're going to be back, of course, Reverend Mike Shreve, Tracy Shellhouse, and Ron Moore all in the house when we return of more Tennessee Valley This Morning after this.
Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, have built a firm offering quality legal services to the people and businesses of Southeast Tennessee. We have achieved expertise in all areas of law in order to represent our clients in a manner they need, deserve, and have come to expect. Logan Thompson, with 9 attorneys and an extensive and competent support staff, is available to provide representation in various legal areas, including family law, Social Security benefits, personal injury, criminal defense, workmen's compensation, as well as business and complex litigation matters. At Logan Thompson, we have been building a tradition of legal services for over 40 years. We have developed the finest legal services and are proficient in providing you with representation you can trust. Give us a call at 423-476-2251 to schedule your free consultation.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning. Again, Joe and Kim Palo with you. It is Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. Now we are joined by Tracy Shellhouse of the New Hope Pregnancy Center. And of course, as Kim said, Tracy comes the
Once
first
a month when I get my scheduling
right.
right.
She gets the schedule.
We've made it 2
She does
weeks
it
in a
right.
row. See, I'm doing good.
Yes. Well, that was your resolution for the year.
I had resolved to do better, and so I've made it through January and February, not messed that
So
up.
far.
Even being gone out of town, I still had it written. But you know what? I've written it all the way through.
Yes,
I did.
that's a good plan.
I know it wasn't.
Now you just can't lose the book.
Right, if I lose the book, we're in serious trouble. But thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy to be here.
Tracy. So what's going on?
Well, we just had Pro-Life Month last month, Sanctity of Human Life Month, and Sanctity of Human Life Sunday on January 20th. And on January 22nd, which was the 40th anniversary of the legalization of abortion in America, through Roe v. Wade and Doe versus Bolton, we had our Sanctity of Human Life Memorial service at North Cleveland Baptist Church. It was a community service, but they were the church that hosted it. An amazing event. We had a great turnout. Normally our memorial, our candlelight service has somewhere between 60 and 100 people. And there was well over 150 this time. So it was a big, I think the fact that we weren't outside in the freezing cold lighting candles might have had a little bit to do with it. I got a lot of comments about how nice it was to be indoors, and I totally understand. But it was a great event, very touching, and I think a lot of people got to see a lot of what we deal with in a new light, because the focus of the screenplay, the book is by Frank Peretti. It's called Tilly. But it is a married couple that already has 3 children that choose to terminate a pregnancy. And I think a lot of times people don't understand that that's part of who we're ministering to also. I think a lot of people assume it's young teenagers.
Right.
And that's simply not the case.
Right.
We see, like I think I mentioned, year before last, we saw people in an age frame from 11 to 55. So it's very vast and varied, and you have to be on your toes and be ready for just about anything.
Right, for whoever, because we've talked to that. I'm 52, and I can imagine. I mean,
It'd be a crisis, wouldn't it?
I mean, I would be like, Tracy, you need to pray seriously, because I'm about to pass out right here and now. So I can see people in crisis. And we talked about you don't make good decisions when you're in crisis. 99%
Absolutely
of the
not.
time,
Because you don't make good decisions generally when you're rushed, and we can see that in all different kinds of situations. I don't even like to be rushed when I'm trying to pick what I want to eat at a restaurant.
Right.
I really don't. I can't stand it when that waitress keeps standing there.
Right.
I'm the person, I'll just
ready?
lay
Are
it
you
down, I'll
ready?
go, come back when I've picked it back up. But I know when we're rushed, it does cause us to make frantic decisions, and a lot of times those that are coming to us, when they initially come in, they are rushed. They want to hurry up and make a decision. They want someone to tell them what to do to make it all go away. And a lot of times they think that terminating a pregnancy is going to make it all go away, but it doesn't. A pregnancy is a pregnancy. That unborn child's an unborn child, and that decision stays with us. And that's also part of what last month was about too, which of course we do this year round. This is our ministry, but last month too was about offering that post-abortion healing to those who have made the decision to terminate, to let them know that God is a God of love, and Christ came so that we could be reconciled.
Right.
And so we offer that year-round, and we offer that kind of counseling. And so it was a great month and a great beginning to a new year. We have been overwhelmed as far as our client visits. It was a crazy month. My husband was in the office a lot last month. Yeah, it's sort of funny, because people come in, they look, and there's a man in here, And but my husband is an IT specialist, and so he has been lending a helping hand. And he looked at me one day and he said, I don't see how you do it. It's so stressful. And I said, well, it's like that a lot. And he said, but if this is any indication of the rest of the year. And I don't know if y'all ever do this. When you were growing up, did you ever record the weather the first 12 days of January? Did y'all ever do that? Or was that an Alabama thing?
I don't know. He recorded everything when he was a kid, his poor cousin, but yeah.
There's a wives' tale that the first 12 days of the year, the weather of each day is going to dictate the weather
Right.
each month, the first 12 months.
Right, I've heard that.
Well, if January is any indication of what we have to look forward to, it is going to be an amazing year, one of miracles, but it is going to be harried. So pray for us.
Well, good for you. But that's a good thing, though, that you have that response and people know that they can come to you. And I've often said that's what I think is so wonderful about your ministry, is that you're not just there, during the crisis, but all the way through
Absolutely.
the decision-making process, and then you have resources that you can also help. Okay, now we've made this decision, and you're not just pushing them out the door and saying,
That's right.
okay, go deal with the decision that we helped you make,
Yeah.
But you do have a resources out there that you can send and help them all the way through, not just up until birth, but after birth and parenting
we
as well.
do. Last year we had a class that helped our clients become certified in infant CPR. We have budgeting classes. We have prenatal and postnatal education, nursing classes. We have all kinds of things. Last year, something we really focused on, and I hope to focus on this year because it hasn't taken root like I would like for it to, is a fatherhood initiative, and that being men in our community mentoring the young men coming to us, because we recognize that fathers are very important. As a matter of fact, a lot of those young ladies that come to us, and even older ladies that come to us who are frantic trying to make a decision, the father of the baby, what he has to say and the kind of support that he can offer is going to have a whole lot to do with what kind of decision, or at least her, how confident she feels in the decision that she's making, that she really feels like she's going to have some help. The wonderful thing is, though, is even if she has absolutely no help from her family or his family, she does have help from New Hope in this community. This community is an amazing community. You would hate to say a great community to experience a crisis pregnancy in, but if you're going to experience one, this is a good place to do it. It really is.
And see, that's part of the thing too, because as we've talked about in the past, first of all, people think the crisis pregnancy thing is for young girls that get pregnant out of wedlock and need to get an abortion to get rid of it. But just like you said, it's married couples a lot of times, and they just maybe can't afford another child, or they don't know how they're going to. And I think in the society today, and it's Roe v. Wade, caused us all to think that infants, or not say infants, their embryos are disposable.
Yes.
It's just, look, if you want it, you can have it. If you don't have to have it. And they get, and I think you're right, they go in there with that mindset to think, let's hurry up and get this over with so I can move on with my life and forget about it. But I don't think they realize down the road, because we all know that hormones are a funny thing. Kim can tell you that. Hormones
They're not funny, they're mean.
No, they're not funny. Women hormones are not funny to men.
They're not even funny to
us.
They're probably not funny to women either. No, that's true. Right.
I work in an office full of women. It gets really interesting.
And so what I guess is, because your body goes through all those changes, and when you get rid of that embryo, probably those hormones play a part in your demeanor, your mindset, your everything, that after the fact that what did I do type thing sits in, and then you've got to deal with that on top of the decision, and that's a decision you don't want to make quickly, because it's a life-changing, you make that decision, whatever decision you make one way or the other, it's a done deal.
Right.
You can't go back. So what is it that and I guess there probably isn't, but what magic words, or what do you say to a woman that is like you said, look, I want to get this over with, I want to get it done, I made this decision, or help me make that decision so I can get and move on with my life. What do you say that causes them to maybe rethink what they've come to try to take care of?
Well, one thing that I tend to do in the counseling room is I ask them, what are your dreams? What are your dreams and what are your goals? And a lot of times, those coming to us feel like this is going to be a game stopper. It's going to bring everything to a halt. And they don't understand that those dreams and goals can still be accomplished. Also, for them to understand that they're not by themselves.
Right.
But then we also talk about things like post-abortion stress syndrome. And we do want people to understand that if they do choose to terminate a pregnancy, that they are at risk of experiencing post-traumatic stress. And those are the things that really set in, just like you're talking about, when the hormones subside and then we get back to ourselves. And I don't mean this to sound judgmental, but the truth is sometimes when hormones are running rampant, we're not thinking straight.
No.
I have 4 children.
Him like 4 or 5 times.
I've got 4 kids.
Today.
3 girls. Yeah, 3 girls, yeah. And sometimes I look at my oldest and I just think, I know that you're not an alien because I've kept my eye on you your whole life. You've never been, exchanged. But sometimes you just look and you think, what is going on? And 3 days later, she's back to herself.
Right.
And so we recognize that has a lot to do with it. And what happens is a lot of times in that rush and in the fear, a hasty decision is made before someone has time to slow down and think about it.
Right.
And so then they go, why did I do that? And I look back at my life and think about how many decisions I made in a hurry.
Sure.
Have you ever bought a car just because it looked really nice and pretty, and you drive it off the lot and it's really nice until you have to make that first payment, and then you go, what was I thinking? I could have gotten something not quite as nice. I didn't have to have the leather, and you start going through all that. There are times we do make decisions in haste, and that's one of the things we talk about too, is you don't have to rush. A lot of times what happens is the family or the factors outside of the situation are really pushing toward a hasty decision. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard, I have to hurry up and have an abortion before it's a baby. And sometimes we just have to bring good common sense into it and say, well, what is it? And let's talk about that. Let's look at the fetal development. Let's look at where potentially you are right now. And do you really understand the development and the growth and what is it? And this is going to sound possibly, I don't want to say crass, but I've told people, and I've said it a lot of times when I'm speaking to large groups, I've never known a woman to get pregnant and have puppies or kittens. It's always a baby. It's always a baby. As long as you don't interrupt that pregnancy and that process, it's always a baby. And what happens is there comes a day that people realize that. And the thing is we do want people to know that we are not there to judge them, that we are unconditional in the services we offer and the love we offer. We are there because we love them. Right. And we love our Lord and Savior who we serve, and yet at the same time, we don't shove anything. We love it when they open up and we can share with them why we do what we do and who we do it for, being our Savior. And we share with them the love of Christ. And yet at the same time, whatever decision they make, we want them to know we're a safe place for you to come back to. And we do pray that most of them, that they're not going to go and terminate, but if they're hurting 2 or 3 years down the road, we want them to know you can come back to us and talk to us again. And we've got resources to help with that too. We have some amazing Bible studies and just different reference items to be able to help with that. But there is definitely a rush, but too, I do think the fact that it has become so common. Abortion is very common.
In some countries, it's birth control.
Well, it is in this country.
Right. There are truly, countries that they don't offer, but they do offer medical services for that, for the pregnancy, and that the government does take care of that.
And if you're a young girl that gets pregnant, forget whatever you were feeling before that pregnancy. Those hormones are there then.
Absolutely.
And you've become a woman overnight. And so after that, everything, it's a game changer just when the way you even perceive yourself after that. So I know that whether,
Well, real quick, you've got a fundraiser coming up, a banquet or dinner.
Yes, we have a banquet coming up on March the 19th. And I'll talk about it again because I'll be back before then. But our speaker is Mike Williams. And if you're familiar with him, he is awesome. He is an author. He is a comedian. And he's also a missionary. He spent 6 months of the year in the Dominican Republic. He has started Bible colleges, schools, church plants, and all kinds of things there. An amazing, amazing speaker, a lot of fun, but he has an amazing story, not only about his life, but the life of one of their children that they have. And so we're excited. We have done a sweet celebration for the past couple of years. Because you remember in 2011, tornado came through the day before, we couldn't do it, so we did something a little bit different. We're going to go back to a traditional banquet. I've just had quite a few people say, well, when are y'all going to do that again? And I noticed that our attendance was down, but amazingly, our income has remained steady. And so we know that we have that great core of people that support us no matter what. But these events are to bring in new people so that they have an idea of what we're doing and why we're there, so that they can partner with us. And so it'll be at First Baptist Church on March the 19th. We're really excited. the churches in this area have been phenomenal. Just as I mentioned, North Cleveland did the Sanctity of Human Life Memorial and everything else. Now we have First Baptist, and this is an amazing community to be in. It really is.
Now, somebody that would like to go to this, would they need to? Are there tickets? Would they need to sign up in advance?
Yes, they can go to our website and just email us at info@newhopepcc for pregnancycarecenter.org, or they can call our office at 479-5825. We are sending out invitations to people that have been involved in the opportunity to sponsor a table. We're looking for underwriters for businesses that want to partner with us. And all of that is going out, should be this week, I believe, into the mail. But people can go ahead and get in touch with us. If I'm not mistaken, tickets are $40 a piece, and you can do an entire table of 8 for $300.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're really excited about it.
And that is March
19th.
19th. And
Right. And she'll be back.
A Tuesday night. Yes.
Well, to talk about it one more time before the actual event.
Yes, I'll bring a guest with me. I have a great event coordinator, and she personally, I have met Mike and sat in workshops, but she has actually heard him at an event and was just like, I've heard so many people say he's the #1 booked pregnancy help center banquet speaker in the nation, but he is the #1 booked for a second time. Normally you have somebody come one time. He gets invited back.
He's a repeater, huh?
Yes, he is that good. Well, what happens is people often say, well, I believe in what you guys do and I love it, but I'm always a little bit afraid to invite people to these things because I don't want them to be uncomfortable and I don't want them to feel awkward, and we totally get that and understand it. And then what happens is Mike comes and they go, if I had known, I would have invited other people. And so therefore he gets invited back again, and he's a great speaker with a great heart and a great story.
Well, that phone number again, Tracy, and the website.
Yes, it's 479-5825, and the website is newhopepcc.org.
Beautiful.
All right, thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.
We'll see you next month.
We'll have Tracy on next month. We'll talk more about the event that's coming up with Mike Williams. Okay, we've got Mike Shreve in the house, and of course, as we said, Ron Moore is here as well. So we're going to be back with more Tennessee Valley this morning after this. Don't go anywhere.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, have built a firm offering quality legal services to the people and businesses of Southeast Tennessee. We have achieved expertise in all areas of law in order to represent our clients in a manner they need, deserve, and have come to expect. Logan Thompson, with 9 attorneys and an extensive and competent support staff, is available to provide representation in various legal areas, including family law, Social Security benefits, personal injury, criminal defense, workmen's compensation, as well as business and complex litigation matters. At Logan Thompson, we have been building a tradition of legal services for over 40 years. We have developed the finest legal services and are proficient in providing you with representation you can trust. Give us a call at 423-5 476-2251 to schedule your free consultation.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on this middle of the week Wednesday. Again, Joe and Kim Palo with you. We're now joined by Reverend Mike Shreve, who is the pastor of United Christian Church, which is located on
Peerless Road.
Peerless Road. I always want to say
2200.
It was formerly the old
It was a Baptist
Westwood
church.
Baptist.
Westwood Baptist.
So a lot of folks maybe remember that. It's a beautiful church, and they do a wonderful job there. And you've got a school, I believe.
Well, we do have a Christian school
It's
there
a
with
Christian
about
school.
200 students.
Yeah, that's great.
And we're very thankful for the opportunity to provide a safe atmosphere for the children
Absolutely.
to be nurtured in the Lord as well as educationally.
And of course, United Christian Church does a lot in this community and has wonderful church, wonderful people there. Of course, Don Warren is a great guy and can play the organ like nobody's
Nobody's
business.
He's
business.
amazing.
I know. he
Unbelievable.
is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But
Now, Brother Reverend Chief, you've got a little bit of a different background than most ministers.
Quite a bit different.
Yes, Joe and I've often talked about it being in Cleveland, Tennessee, the Pentecostal capital of the world in a sense. And then, and Joe, we've laughed about it because he was Catholic in his upbringing, and you were raised Catholic
I was raised
as well.
Catholic.
And Joe, when we first moved here, everywhere he had always been, the largest church in the city was the Catholic church, and he came to Cleveland. It was like you have one first and foremostly, and there was the Pentecostal and Baptist churches everywhere. But you also got involved at a very young age, I guess, into the Middle Eastern type religions.
Well, see, when I was a teenager, I got away from church altogether.
Okay.
And I became a rock musician.
Okay.
And I traveled all over the Southeast with a rock band, and finally that kind of lifestyle caught up with me, and I had a near-death experience at the age of 19 that shook me up. And I began searching, but I wasn't drawn to traditional Christianity. And at the time, the Beatles were studying under the Maharishi, and it was very trendy to turn toward Eastern religions.
Yes.
It
Remember when Reverend Moon came to Orlando and we went out there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was with
That
her.
was a time when there were a lot of new religious ideas infiltrating our society. Well, I became a student of an Indian guru and became very, very devoted to it. I was passionate about finding God, and I was spending 12 to 14 hours a day in solitude doing all that you're supposed to do to come to this elusive place they call God consciousness. I was meditating, I was chanting, I was reading the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas and the Bible and anything that claimed to be a sacred book. And long story short, I got so devoted to it, I was teaching it at 4 universities in Florida.
Wow.
In fact, I was teaching at the Unitarian Church also in the area that you're from, Joe. And then I had this incredible life-changing week where the Tampa Tribune did a big article on me, and I thought it would increase my class attendance and make it shoot over 1,000. Instead, it alerts this prayer group to start praying for me.
I saw that.
Yeah.
They took the article and they prayed over it.
Yeah,
right?
they cut it out of the paper, pinned it to their prayer board, and there was somebody fasting and praying for me every hour of every day.
Right.
So I believe in intercession.
Sure.
It brought me into the kingdom of God. And then during that time I'm being prayed for, I get a letter from an old friend of mine telling me how he had been born again and had become a Christian. Well, I wrote him back and said, Larry, I'm happy for you, but I cannot accept the idea that Christianity is the only way.
Right.
But his letter weighed on me until finally I prayed all day one day, Jesus, if you're the answer, show me. And one of the members of the prayer group was led by the Holy Spirit to drive down a certain road, not knowing that I was standing there hitchhiking to go teach at University of South Florida. He picked me up, and he just happened to be a former yoga student himself, and I just happened to have heard about him falling away from the faith and getting hung up with these Jesus freaks on the other side of town. So it was all a divine setup, and I became a Christian. But whatever you go through in life, you earn the right to reach out to somebody else who's in the same situation.
Right.
And I have many facets to my ministry. As you know, I run a publishing company in town. I pastor. I'm a Bible teacher. I've taught in several Bible colleges as well as being an evangelist. But one facet of my ministry is reaching out to people that are of this pluralistic mindset that believe all religions are different paths to God.
Right.
And showing them why Christianity is unique and why I believe wholeheartedly now that that truly is the only way to come into a relationship with God.
And as he just talked about, that he is an author and he has authored a book in search of the true light, and that is taking a look at these.
That's a
different
comparative
religions.
religion book.
Comparative.
I compare the beliefs of over 20 religions,
Right.
and then of course I highlight the Christian point of view, especially contrasting it with the Far Eastern beliefs I used to embrace, and show the difference. And most people, if they don't really have a knowledge of what all these religions believe, they'll throw out statements like, well, all religions are basically saying the same thing and will take you to the same place. But when you really learn what religions believe, you can't make that statement.
Right.
Right. Now, isn't there a lot of religions that try to mirror the Christian idea, the Christian religion of Christ, and the whole idea? They try to mirror it maybe with other names or other ideas that kind of. They're not basing it on Jesus Christ,
right?
But they're trying to mirror that to maybe, I don't know if that's to kind of grab people in or to make you feel like everything's the same, or.
Well, almost every religion has what you might call a messianic figure, an individual. Hinduism is different. Hinduism is an amalgamation of many different beliefs, and they don't point to a founder, an originator of the religion. But you've got Muhammad, you've got Buddha, you've got various individuals at the head of a lot of religions that in their way act as a savior figure. Right. But none of them died on the cross for the sins of humanity. And none of them rose from the dead.
I was reading the other day that a lot of the other religions, I was just reading about religions in general, but most, they lift on high that Christ was the only one that humbled himself, that would actually die for his cause, that everyone else, in a sense, even if they deprived themselves of certain things, of food or drink or whatever, but they were still a deity in a sense, but they never suffered for their cause and died, and shed their own blood in order to save humanity in a sense. And
well,
so
that is one of the key things.
Right.
Now, of course, we believe as Christians that Jesus was God manifested in the flesh. In Hinduism, they believe that everyone is God.
Right, yes.
And so that's not really a shocking idea that Jesus was God. But however, in the biblical worldview, we believe that God was only incarnated in the world one time.
Right.
In Hinduism, say for instance, that I used to embrace, there's a divine essence within every human being. So to find God, you look within.
Right.
Biblically, the idea is that human beings, because of the sin nature that we're born with, are separate from God. And in order to have a relationship with God, he enters into you from without. Sure. Now, one of those is right and one of those is wrong. They can't both be right. And that's what I tell people that will respond to me and say, well, there's only one God. Yes, I believe there's only one God, but not all interpretations of the nature of God have been correct. There's only one solar system that contains the planet Earth, but there have been many different varied interpretations of the nature of that solar system. Ptolemy in the 2nd century said the Earth was the center and the sun revolved around the Earth. Copernicus 1,000 years later said no, the sun's at the center and the Earth revolves around it. If they were contemporaries living in our day and they had the philosophy that is very dominant on our campuses, then Ptolemy would have said, Copernicus, you can have your idea and I can have my idea. You can have your truth and I can have my truth, and we can both be right. A very tolerant way of looking at it. But of course, one is right at the expense of the other being wrong. And there are many ideas put forth in the name of religion that conflict with one another. Sure. Buddha taught that we do not have a soul. Jesus taught that we do have a soul. Some New Agers teach that both Jesus and Buddha were incarnations of God. Right. Then God's confused, isn't he? Right. Because one time he says you do, one time he says you don't. And so these are things that I deal with in the book, In Search of the True Light. I give deep detail about what each religion believes in 7 different categories. That's one of my bestseller books.
Well, good. Now, you also have a Bible study that you're doing online.
Yes,
talk about a little bit about
really
that you're really excited. What nights? Kind of give us a little overview.
Well, we're starting. We're in the beginning stage of a full range of courses being offered, a full curriculum. But I wanted to start slow with one course, and on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock sharp. We don't have any song service or anything else leading up to it. At 7 o'clock sharp to 8 o'clock, I'm teaching on the 9 covenants of God, and it's a Bible school level class. And people, of course, in the Cleveland area, we invite to come. We do it on a Tuesday night because we didn't want to conflict with the schedules of other churches, and we want it to be a community blessing. United Christian Church is exactly what it implies, Christians united together. You cannot become a member of our church because we don't offer membership. We have a kingdom mindset, a body of Christ mindset. If you're a born-again Baptist, a born-again Methodist, a born-again Catholic, we're in the same body. We're in the same family. That's the mindset we have. So on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, also, we're offering it online. And I've been an evangelist for 42 years, and so I have an email list all over the world. I've held meetings in India and Africa and all over the place. And so we sent out an email inviting people to participate, and we're not charging anything because many people can't afford it if we did. And we started out the first Tuesday, which was just 3 Tuesdays ago. We started out with 140 people out of 22 states and 7 nations.
Excellent.
Praise God.
Excellent.
Online.
Absolutely.
And reach it online, you go to the United Christian website, which is uccma.net. That's United Christian Church and Ministerial Association.
Right,
UCC.
now you can Google that. I mean, you can just Google United Christian and it will come up, because I tell everybody, everybody's always, I never can get that. I don't have a piece of paper. I'm like, just Google United Christian Church.
Oh, it's great.
And it'll get you to UCC.
How did the disciples survive without
I don't
Facebook?
know. I know. Joe's not, he keeps telling everybody.
Can you imagine Peter saying, please friend Jesus?
That's right. You can do that. And so, so if you can't remember what it is, and you want to be a part of that Bible, because it seems like it's very interesting to be.
It's a fantastic subject.
And he also has a publishing. You've also, real quick, we've just got a couple of minutes left. 65 promises from God for your child. I mean, as a mother,
fantastic.
I wish I had this.
Every parent needs this book. Actually, this is being released this week, February the 5th.
Okay.
February the 5th. It came out in bookstores around the country and around the world. And it's based on the idea that there are 7,487 promises in the Bible, but only 65 deal specifically with our children. And parents need to know those promises. Like Proverbs 11:21 says, the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. Isaiah 49:25, God said, I will contend with him who contends with you, and I will save your children. Or promises like, all your children shall be taught by the Lord, and great shall be the peace of your children. And there's 65 of them. And instead of begging God, oh Lord, my son's so messed up, or my daughter's in such a terrible situation, please move for them. Instead of begging, instead of pleading, you move up to the next level of faith, and you say, God, you've already promised it in your word. I'm confessing that promise. I'm claiming it. And they can order this on my personal website, which is shreveministries.org.
And that is SHREVE.
You got it.
Ministries.org. All right, just remember the .org.
Or they can order that book.
Okay.
And I run a publishing company, Deeper Revelation Books, and that's deeperrevelationbooks.org. And we have authors from all over the country, all over the world, actually, that we publish books for.
Okay.
Now, is there a phone number for the church if somebody would like to find out more information about the church?
Thank you for asking. 423-472-7271 is the main number.
Okay.
Or 479-4277.
Okay.
Beautiful.
479-4277.
Well, thank you for
Beautiful.
being with
Yes,
us
thank you
today,
so
you guys.
much.
If you haven't been out to United Christian Church, it's right there on Peerless Road. Reverend Shreve he's new to the church. He's been there for a little bit now and doing a great job
3
over
months.
there. So go out and see him over there on Sunday morning.
That's exactly
and,
right. And order one of these books.
That's right. Read
Praise
you
God.
something.
There you
Thank
go.
you so much for
Thank
being
you
with
What
so
a
much,
joy to
Reverend
meet
Shreve.
you guys. I
Thank
can't
you
believe
so
I've been
much.
in this town for so long and hadn't
Good
met
to
you.
meet you. Good to meet you. We're going to be back, folks. We've got Ron Moore in the house, and
We've had truth, and now we're going to get
Yeah,
a little-
now we'll go away from it a little bit.
Should
with
I
Ron.
hang around and pray?
Yeah, you
always
may want
good
to.
stuff. Always
You may
good
want
stuff.
to. But we're going to be back with more Tennessee Valley this morning. After this, please stay tuned.
Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, have built a firm offering quality legal services to the people and businesses of Southeast Tennessee. We have achieved expertise in all areas of law in order to represent our clients in a manner they need, deserve, and have come to expect. Logan Thompson, with 9 attorneys and an extensive and competent support staff, is available to provide representation in various legal areas, including family law, Social Security benefits, personal injury, criminal defense, workmen's compensation, as well as business and complex litigation matters. At Logan Thompson, we have been building a tradition of legal services for over 40 years. We have developed the finest legal services and are proficient in providing you with representation you can trust. Give us a call at 423-476-2251 to schedule your free consultation.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here. Doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Well, from one ordained minister to another, we are now joined by Ron Moore.
No, we're not. That's
a
stretch.
That is stretch.
That
All right. But of course, Ron is here, as he is each and every Wednesday, to talk to us about some history in our area. And today we never have any idea what it's about. What are we talking about?
I don't either. I just start.
This guy's it's a blank piece of
On the
paper.
drive over.
You know, our community has changed quite a bit since 1838 when we were created.
Yes.
And we no longer have horses going down there, and we don't have in the buggies, and we don't have what happens when horses walking up and down the street.
Except for the Christmas
So
parade.
no more dirt streets,
Right.
and we now have a lot more concrete, brick, and mortar. A lot of history covered under concrete. But just think about the changes just here in this little community over the years. When we first started here, there was mainly farmers. That's how they made their life. And then a few became had special skills and started into some other secondary business, although they still farm, like blacksmithing, saddlers, coopers, wagon makers, brick masons, tinners, tanners, and some ran grist mills, which was very important.
What's a cooper? I don't know what a cooper is.
What is a cooper?
Is it a copper person?
Yes.
Okay, a
yeah.
cooper.
It's,
make pots and pans.
It's Peyton and Eli's brother.
Yeah. Well, my mind just went blank and said, the mills are the big things because we have a lot of creeks through here.
Right.
Candy's Creek, if you started down in the lower part of Bradley County, and Candy Creek, our creeks run north here, which is unusual. Most creeks run south, but our creeks actually run north.
Huh.
So Candy's Creek runs north, Mouse Creek runs north. So those are unusual things here. But you put mills on there, and they ran the mills. Either they ran a trace up and ran a top mill, which would make the water turn this way, or they run it underneath it. Either way, it ground the stones of the corn with the big stones. And then usually what the mill guy would do is take a portion of the corn for his own.
Okay.
If they didn't have money, which was basically no one had money back then. So that's just sort of the early days. And let's go to the turn of the century, the 20th century, and the Roaring 20s, 1920 to 1930. Boy, there's some changes in Bradley County happening, particularly in the city.
Having good times in Cleveland.
Oh well, politics really
okay.
changed in the 20s. Do you know why?
Why?
Well, I read this today. It says because the entry of women into the voting booths.
I knew it was going to be trouble sooner or later.
And this article said not only with the women, but both the white and black women got to vote.
So there we go.
So, there's a sort of a southern flair to that, so this is a big change and a big shot here in America.
We finally got it right.
Yeah, you would think, what's so big deal about that? But you have to remember that women, actually the blacks got a right to vote, black men got a right to vote long before women got the right to vote. So that was just the way we go. So you see there are changes coming along. The city started paving streets, and we eventually had paved streets in the city of Cleveland. So we were pretty progressive. The Cherokee Hotel, built back in the 1920s, one of the largest, just a fancy place to be, was actually built by the community here itself, the Chamber of Commerce and some businessmen. They actually built it, and after they got it up and operating, someone bought it. But that was a unique use of government funds, actually doing something positive for the community. So I don't know that still happens today, but that's the intention of those.
Well, wait, so did they pave or concrete over the brick streets?
Oh yes, yeah. I don't know how early that was, but yeah, the bricks are still there.
But they're underneath all.
Yeah, if you go, matter of fact, if you tried to dig down in Ocoee Street,
right,
and Broad Street, you're going to go through a lot of layers of things before you get down to the brick. They're concrete, they're pavement, but the brick is still down there.
Wow.
So it's and still supporting our streets. We had a police department. 5 of them.
5 of them.
Yeah.
Cleveland's finest.
And in the 20s, they finally decided to really step up, and they got them a telephone.
That's good.
Not one of them cell phones. They got a landline.
And then they got them a motorcycle. They're motorized now, because before they were not motorized. And so...
were they horses? How'd they get around?
Horses, yeah. We're still talking horse and buggies, and and cars were just now starting to become a thing. But they had a motorcycle, and I read that, and the only thing I could think of was Barney Fife getting that motorcycle on the Eddie Griffin show.
I know.
And he went out to Checkpoint Chickie.
Checkpoint Chickie.
So I sit here going, no, that's not what that was. It can't be,
That only happened in Mayberry, in North Carolina.
We had 5 policemen, but they just had one motorcycle?
Yeah, they had to share.
Well, sure they did.
During the 20s, we started the public library here in Cleveland. We started the Cleveland Coffin Country Club, which was located down South Lee, and then it moved up there. Speck Hospital, the very first hospital we had in Bradley County was the Speck Hospital, built in 1922, I believe it was 23. Dr. Speck, they opened it. It was a private business, and of course the next one was PNS, and then eventually Bradley Memorial, which was 1958 or 59.
Wow.
Somewhere in that range. So, and then they come up and finally said, folks, we do have evidence now that the Ku Klux Klan does operate here in the city of Cleveland.
What year?
The 20s.
And how did they come to that?
Well, I don't know.
They recognized the shoes just like
the shoes. The shoes. But the Ku Klux Klan around here never was as big as a thing. It was the people. Actually, they took care of. They were a protective thing, although they were somewhat racist, of course.
Stuff, yeah.
But if you were mistreating your wife, you may get a visit by the Klan to come even to see you. So it wasn't always just racism. It was, were you treating your family right, and things.
Right.
But there are some reports later on, and stories from my grandmother and things that there was a man and woman moved in near where they did, and one was black and one was white, and a few days later, after the cross was burned, they decided to leave town.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my grandmother says that when they put the cross up, that you had to put these twigs around the circle at the bottom of that, and I go, Grandma, how do you know this? How do you know so much about building a cross, And so she didn't say anything.
But I did hear that really Bradley County was not a big hub of that there was some, of course we were in the South and there was that racism that existed, but we were not very strong and we let go
didn't
of
have
that
a large
soon.
black population,
Right.
If you go into Alabama, every community in Alabama is 45% black. Here, we have about a 5% black population in the city of Cleveland, a little bit lower in the county, and so and it never was the biggest problem. Even during the slavery time, we didn't have great numbers of slaves. Right. Most people, I think the biggest person had 20 slaves. There's a lot of people who had a servant, I think maybe one or two, worked in their garden and then helped cook and clean at their house, and that wasn't that many people. I think in Deb's book, the soldier who had been captured from here, and a Union soldier says, "What does it feel like to own somebody?" He says, "I can't even afford shoes for my kids, much less own another human being," because the slaves were from $200 to $2,000 a piece. Right. And you imagine in 1860 or 1850 ranges that $200 was a lot of money, $2,000 was unbelievable. So. But we did have that slavery here, and then we did have the Ku Klux Klan here. The Ku Klux Klan pretty much now is a thing of the past, although there is organizations in the, if you look at the Southern Poverty Center, there are probably 10 or 15 Ku Klux Klan hate groups still in Tennessee. Oh, wow. Right. And they said there are about 40 hate groups of different kinds around the state, and it's pretty interesting to look at that map. Going from Ku Klux Klan, we had 19 churches in downtown Cleveland. We had 3 movie theaters, the Monique, the Bohemia, and the Princess. And if you'll remember, the Bohemia, well, you probably guys won't, but Bohemia was still operating back when I was alive.
Boy,
after I was born.
30 seconds.
After I was born. And in 1923, people were complaining about the form of government. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Like that changed.
That's right. So
well, of course, we hope that may Ron rest in peace.
Yes.
And
we're so glad while you were alive there was a theater.
I know, it was great. But of course, as we tell you each and every week, don't forget, listen to Ron and Debbie Moore every Saturday, 10 to 12 on Whoop Radio, Old Town Cleveland, 99.9. And they will have an interesting thing and take your phone calls as well. Talk to you about some interesting stuff that's happening as he did today, and he does every Wednesday. Week. So we thank you for being with us again, buddy.
Great.
And we hope that you have a good day. We hope that you have a good day today.
He comes back to
Miami wasn't in the Super Bowl, were they?
Yeah, they won it too. They won. They're in it.
He was all dressed up. You should have seen him.
Yeah, that's right. All right, we're going to see you guys next Wednesday. Have yourself a good rest of the week. For Kim, I'm Joe, and Ron, and Reverend Shreve, and of course Tracy Shellhouse. Have yourself a good Wednesday. We'll see you next time.